In May 2009, I bumped into Charlie Veach at a May Day protest. I was holding a sign saying everything is okay and he had a megaphone. We clicked and proceeded to meet up regularly for the next few months, creating a series of films which he filmed, edited and published on his own YouTube channel. Later that year, I decided to part ways with him and set up my own channel, and the rest is history. YouTube has been an amazing tool for so many of us, both creators and consumers of content. But once YouTube was purchased by Google, things began to change. When the big boys take over, it can get very nasty. A few years ago, I joined their so-called partnership program, whereby I would agree to allow adverts on my channel in exchange for sharing the revenue. To earn decent money, you have to have hundreds of thousands of hits on a video, and I noticed that it was mainly the videos involving the police that were lucrative. This was a corrupting influence, as it incentivized me to make more police videos to pander to the crowd, rather than concentrate on questioning the status quo around what I now see as the underlying causes of all human misery, namely sex and money, or to put it another way, reproduction and ownership. The advertisements they were displaying would also include government propaganda, as well as the usual corporate BS. Worse than that, the so-called partnership could be destroyed by YouTube if I deviated from various narratives, including the COVID narrative, or if I upset anyone with the right connections. They can pull a whole channel if they wish, with little or no chance of appeal. And they certainly can and do remove particular films that even mention certain words. What kind of partnership is that, given that I've generated thousands of dollars of revenue for the company? I realized that I was in partnership with the worst type of pimp. If Google was a human being, it would be locked up for life in some countries and executed in others. If Google was a human, I would describe that human as a psychopathic, paedophilic, stalker and pervert, as well as a tool which governments use to control their subjects. Imagine if someone found a way to get access to all your emails, read them all, stored them for future use against you, sold the data to the highest bidder, and sold you things on the back of them. Imagine if this person was peddling all sorts of vile music videos to your children. Imagine if he or she suddenly decided which videos you were allowed to watch and which you were not, based on his or her business interests and on his or her friends in high places. Imagine if he or she was trying to turn you and your children into digital junkies. Then there is Facebook. If Facebook were a human, it too would be locked up for life or executed. Not just for Facebook, but Instagram and WhatsApp too. If Facebook was human, it too would be a megalomaniac, a psychopathic, greedy stalker, paedophile and pervert, and a tool used by governments to control and manipulate billions of people and selling their data to the highest bidder. Imagine if this person tried to get you high on dopamine by keeping you engaged on his platform, knowing that his algorithms were destroying your and our ability to think straight and encouraging low self-esteem amongst young and old along the way. Imagine such a person was trying to influence your children behind your back to become compliant, obedient slaves of the system. Imagine if you posted your creative content on this person's platform and he took ownership of it, making money out of it and giving you nothing. I did try once to monetize Facebook, but it wouldn't let me because I'd posted just one link that they didn't approve of. Then there's TikTok. Imagine if it was a person who enabled young girls to open their bedrooms up for all sorts of sordid men to visit and abuse. A person who is guilty of much of what Facebook and YouTube are guilty of. That person would also be locked up for life. Over the past few weeks, I've been off Facebook and TikTok and limited my exposure to YouTube, as well as not uploading to YouTube, so I could have some time to consider how to move forward. I realised that over the years I have engaged in hours and hours of commenting on Facebook with other people who, like me, were too stupid to realise that Facebook does more damage than good, that it creates bubbles of misperception and destroys our ability to think critically. Most of my friends and people I respect are not on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram or TikTok, or if they are, they make sure that they use these platforms as opposed to the platforms using them. I intend to use YouTube to migrate people to platforms that do not censor and abuse their users, and I will only upload content that I am confident will not put my channel in jeopardy. I have had enough of feeding the beast while worrying if I've offended the beast enough to be punished by it. I will use Facebook in a similar way to migrate others to less toxic platforms, as well as share videos and articles that I fancy sharing, but I will no longer look at my feed or read or engage with any comments. All of my YouTube videos are automatically uploaded to Odyssey, which I will link below, but any new content I create will be posted on the Hive blockchain, which is censorship resistant. Although I think all new technology, including blockchain and cryptocurrency, will be used by the trillionaire families against the masses, for the time being, I think we can use this technology to our advantage. I know and like some of the developers on Hive, and to my limited knowledge, it is as decentralized as they come, as evidenced by the recent fork from Steam. I intend to make a separate blog about blockchain and cryptocurrency. I will leave a link in the description which will take you to the Hive sign up. Signing up for an account on the Hive blockchain is not as straightforward as signing up for most platforms, as it requires storing your passwords, because there is no password recovery. For me, that is a good thing because I prefer having far less followers, knowing that I could be wasting people's time with my content and preventing them from spending their time more constructively, and only attracting people who are really interested in the content. I am very skeptical about encouraging people to spend more time in front of screens. Most of the ideas that are important to me to share are already peppered all over my YouTube films, namely skepticism towards sex and reproduction, and skepticism regarding the myths of ownership, money, and the beast of a genocidal and menticidal system which has grown out of those myths. Mainstream media and social media have, in my opinion, acted criminally during this pandemic, and via their twisted algorithms have accelerated our descent into technocratic totalitarian dystopia by bombarding billions of people with a constant stream of trauma-inducing propaganda, leading to the masses begging to be tracked, traced, quarantined and vaccinated, as well as turning the vaccinated against the unvaccinated. And I want to disengage with them as much as I can. There is still, of course, a lot of amazing content of YouTube, but I find it a constant battle to avoid being drawn down many rabbit holes. I remain open-minded about this and may change course in the future. I've started a Telegram channel which is linked below, and I do intend to get a website going as soon as I can.